Hi everyone, this is Lois Friend and you're Stamping with a Friend. I'm equipped here today with my cappuccino, my white chocolate cappuccino. It was a chilly afternoon. It is Thursday, April the 11th, and it's a little cool outside, so I made myself something hot to drink, and I'm ready to get started with our April cards. For our April cards this month, I always try to use stamps that are retiring. And we are saying goodbye to a lot of stamps. And this catalog will go out on April, the end of April, as well as our mini catalog, our January to April 2024 mini catalog. We're going to be saying goodbye to a lot of the products, but good news is, look what I have. Yay! I have the new annual catalog, and I will be distributing them shortly. If you're not already on my list to get a catalog, and you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to help you. And you can just let me know how to contact you, how to get a catalog to you by commenting in the comments. I do check comments. I appreciate your comments when you leave one. Like I always say, please leave your comments, but be kind. All right, so we will be getting started. We used the fractured or shutter card technique. That was the technique we learned for the April class, and it's a fun little technique, and it's not hard. It looks much harder than it is. And then the third card was we used our blending brushes to design the scene. So I think we're ready to get started. I think I have everything maybe at my fingertips here. I cleaned off my table. I don't have quite as much of a disaster at my workstation as I normally do. So we will get started. And I will submit, I will add all the measurements and dimensions and everything like that in the comments, or I'll give you a link to my tutorial that I give. And I think we'll get started. All right, this is the first card we did, and we are featuring the it's on a white card base, and the colors that we're using are the Sweet Sorbet and the Parakeet. I never can remember whether it's Parakeet Party or, yes, it is Parakeet Party. And those are two of the in colors that will be heading out the door when we say goodbye to this catalog. And I'm really kind of sorry to see that one go. I really like the color. That it wasn't one of my favorites of the in colors. We do in colors. They come out with new in colors every year, and those colors stay for 2 years. So the ones that are retiring or going by the wayside this year, they have been available for 2 years. And they'll be coming out with new colors. I've seen the colors. I have not received my shipment of products, but I expect them probably tomorrow. So I may do a live as I unbox my box tomorrow when it comes of the new products that I've ordered. And one of the first things I order are the new in colors. So, all right. Let's get started. All right. keep in mind when you're doing these cards, when you design the card, you need to design it on the diamond, like it's a diamond on the vertical. That's, or on, not the vertical, but design it so that it looks like a diamond. That's the best way I know how to say it when you're creating that, because it is going to be on your card front in an angle. So the stamp set we're using is Quiet Meadow. And when I looked at it, I told my card makers, my class members, that this one was one I used a lot. And I did use some of the stamps a lot, but I discovered after looking at it, I used the die cuts a lot from this set. They sort of could stand alone. And so I'm gonna miss that. That might be one I hang on to for a while. I tend to hang on to some of my favorites. All right, so we are going to be using the stamp, and I think these might be poppies. I'm not sure. But again, as I said, make sure when you stamp, you are stamping at so that it's the cardstock is at an angle. All right, now I use the alcohol markers, and for lack of boring you, I don't want to bore you so that while you watch me color, I did go ahead and I colored one. I cut one and colored one, and I used the Sweet Sorbet, the light and the dark Sweet Sorbet, and then I also used the Parakeet Party. I used the dark to design the stems and leaves. And for the centers, I used the dark Lemon Lolly, which that is not retiring. So, all right. And I should tell you a wise thing, I think, is to not adhere anything while you're creating your card. Don't wait until after you've got all your pieces and parts. Some have a tendency, well, I'll go ahead and tape this down now or adhere this. And sometimes that doesn't work. And I fail to tell the girls and class members not to do that. And I learned as I was teaching this that I should have remembered to tell them that. And here I go. I was going to glue it down. All right, now I am going to go ahead and attach the finished piece. And I'm going to use our silicone sheets. These are great because you can just wipe that off and you don't get sticky everywhere when you use those. Okay, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it here. There's not necessarily a right placement. And then I've cut these little black strips. And I just realized what I don't have at my table is my scissors. All right. Now, these strips are about 1/4 inch, and I'm going to start here, and I'm not going to adhere anything until I get it placed the way I want it placed. And okay, I think that looks about right. And And I'm going to start with this, and I think I've got it in the camera. I'm so bad about not staying in the line of the camera. All right. And as I said, this is called the fractured technique or the shutter, because when you look at it, you think of the shutter in a camera. And one more. Okay, now I made these extra long. They don't have to, whoops, I didn't get it butted up there against the black. They don't have to be as long as I made them. Probably, 6 inches or so by a 1/4 inch. Now, I'm just gonna take this and trim it. And I can use these pieces maybe for another fractured card. I didn't put adhesive all the way down or anything, so you can do that. Okay, now you can attach it. And by waiting, if you wait until after the card is attached, until the card front is designed, then you're getting a clean cut on these sides. Where if you glue it down and have to lift it, it's not quite as clean cut. It's a little hard to maneuver. Okay, I said I was going to glue that. Yeah, I can glue this down. Or adhere this, because my ribbon is going to go behind the red sweet sorbet. Okay, now going to I'm going to make another birthday. I find that I've been sending a lot of birthday cards out. So this particular sentiment came from the Waves of Inspiration. And this is a stamp set. I've had it for a while and I hadn't got a chance to use it. And again, the die cuts are really, really cool in this. And these sets are, they're on the 60% sale that's going on right now. And all these products are while supplies last. So if there's something you want, you need to order it soon. So, but I do like the waves and all. That would make a great scrapbooking page for a beach trip or something. It's called Waves of Inspiration, and the dies are the wave dies. And I'm going to tap, tap, tap. All right. And the die for this comes from the Waves of Inspiration die, and it's a really neat little die. And you just center it, and then you run it through our our big boy, our machine. And I went ahead, like I said, I tried to shorten, I'm going to try to shorten my video a little bit because I have found if it gets too long, it takes forever for it to upload to YouTube. So I'm going to try to shorten things a little bit. So I went ahead and did some of my cutting and all that before I started the video. And this is Sweet Sorbet ribbon, and you can see I'm almost out. And you don't need to cut, you don't need to wrap it around, clear around the back of the your card front. You just need enough to turn. It's not going to go anywhere. And I believe in preserving and saving, you know, because I'm cheap. All right, now we are ready to attach. Okay, and there it is, card number 1 with the fractured technique. I will put these boxes out of the way as I use them so that I can get things, keep my spot a little bit organized. Okay. Lay that aside and we will do card number 2. And with this, I'm really sad to see the circle sayings go. That was one of my favorite stamp sets that came out last year, and I am really, really, really sad to see that go. And also going is the Charming Sentiments. And this set, I had hardly used it. I had hardly done anything with it. And it has these amazing die cuts that go with it. And I really like it. So I used it for this class. So I at least could say, yes, I have used this set. This set I used a lot for various classes. So I did not color this ahead of time. I should have, but I didn't. Okay. And it features, this card features the Starry Sky and the Orchid Oasis. And these are both in colors that have been around for 2 years. And they are going by the wayside. And Starry Sky is one of my favorites. That is definitely one of my favorites that I hate to see go. I really liked it. I used it a lot. So I'm putting this on our piercing mat because it is a clear stamp. And when you stamp with the clear stamps, you need something firm under there, a little bit of a cushion. And I'm using the Starry Sky. And again, remember, tip to tip, we're doing this on the, basically it's on the angle. Okay, and I'm going to use our Stampin' Blends. And I should have colored this. I was trying to get everything ready before I started to record, as I said, because I'm trying to avoid taking so long, because the last month when I did my video, it took me like a day to get it loaded up. It was a little bit longer. I got a little bit longer winded. So I'm just going to do this kind of in a hurry. Not be so neat about it. And this is the light Starry Sky that I'm using. And then I'm going to come back in with the darker. The light that I used here was the light Balmy Blue, and that Balmy Blue is not, it's not retiring. It will be around, but I wanted a lighter blue for the foam on this. All right, now there are some lines in this, and I'm just gonna take the dark and add some definition. And then we have a color lifter, and that kind of just helps blend the colors. And if you get it something a little too dark, it will lift. It takes a little while for it to for you to notice it. Okay, while that dries, I am going to color the sun. How many of you watched the eclipse the other day? It was pretty cool. I was with my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter, and they had the glasses. I hadn't picked up glasses, so I was glad I was with them. They had the special glasses, and it was just really, really cool. Where I am, I think they said it was about 93% covered, but it was covered well. There was only just a little sliver. Now I used the Dark Daffodil Delight for the sun. And again, that is not one that's retiring. Now for the rays, I'm using the light Daffodil Delight. My 3-year-old granddaughter loves rainbows, and when she's always having someone draw rainbows and sunlight and raindrops on the sidewalk in front of their house. And the other day, she suddenly told me she wanted me to draw sunlight. Now, I had drawn the sun, and I still haven't exactly figured out what she means by drawing the sunlight, but when I do something like this on the sidewalk, that seems to satisfy her. But she's all about the rainbow. She loves rainbows. Okay, that is colored. Now, I did I did run, and I didn't do that prior to either. This embossing folder, and I never can remember. I usually type the name or have the label on it to say what the name of it is, and the sandwich that you use when you're running it through, and I didn't. This is the Time Worn Type 3D, and it is also going by the wayside. And I like this one as much as the subtle one a couple years ago. That it seems like I used that one a lot, and before it retired. All right, now I'm going to run this through our handy dandy machine. And yes, I'm going to make the table shake. I love embossing folders. I tell all my crafters, if I didn't use anything else besides a few stamps and paper, I would use the embossing folder, because you can just add, it adds so much to your card. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start assembling. Now this one is just a little bit different. I did this Starry Sky. I added as just a little to give this a little bit of a border. I went a quarter inch bigger on the square. Okay. Now we're ready to add our fracture. And this is the Orchid Oasis. This blends so well with the Starry Sky. Okay, and again, I'm not going to adhere anything until I get everything laid out the way I want it laid out. So with this, I just bring this to the top to the same edge as the Starry Sky, and then I'm going to run this to the top. Oops, nope. I'm going to run this from this edge to the top, sorry. And then this will go just past that to the edge. And then this one will go from here down. Okay, I'm going to trim these just a little and get my silicone, my other silicone. And I didn't put I didn't put adhesive all the way because you really don't need it. Just a portion. This one goes all the way to the bottom, and I fit that up next to this blue piece, or the Orchid Oasis, sorry. And then this one goes up to the edge. And you don't have to use square. You can use rectangle, you can use any shape. I'm not sure how round would be. It would be a little harder, but probably not impossible. All right, now it's ready to trim. So just now you can start to assemble. I have my card front here, or my card base, and I'm going to just, oops, I need to refill. One ready. I saw that it was getting low, so. See how fast that is? All right. I need to clean my silicone. And I will say, some of my card makers have trouble with these tape dispensers. And I have found if you run it, it's a flick of the wrist. It doesn't, I don't have nearly as much trouble with it if I'm a little gentler with it. Instead of running long strips, I just do the flip of a wrist. Okay, now I told you about these these stamps and the sentiments. I'm going to stamp this with the Orchid Oasis. And again, like I said, I should have done this before, but I didn't. All right, and I have my, I have this ready, and I use just a little bit of removable tape to position it, to keep it in position when I run it through the machine. And I'm going to do that really quick. Wishing you everything wonderful. All right, now I'm going to take, I like to soften the edges, what I say, soften it, I use one of our daubers and just go around the edges. And that just kind of, I don't know, puts it all together, or as I say, softens it a little bit. I did get a little bit close. In my hurry to get it done fast, I could have moved that up a little bit, but I think you can see it. And I am going to use some of our dimensionals. Pop that on there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All done. And you have card number 2. Wishing you everything wonderful. All right. And our last card is super, super simple. And again, it was a stamp that I had purchased, and it had not touched ink. Imagine that. I used some circle dies. I don't remember which size. I have various circle dies that have retired, and I don't get rid of the basics. So if you have a circle punch, there's no real rhyme or reason to the way, you know, like I said, it's a circle, and I have various ones, and I've kept them over the years. So you kind of have to eyeball it and get what you want. So what I did was I ran this designer series paper through an embossing folder, and again, I should have looked before I came on. One of these months, I'm going to surprise you and have stuff ready and complete when I start filming. This embossing folder is softly sophisticated, And I think, if I remember right, it was actually with a Celebration set. It was something we got for Celebration. Of course, Celebration is over. But I wanted to use this because I thought it needed something. The paper was kind of plain on its own, and the card is very subtle. And I wanted to add just a little bit of dimension. And as I mentioned, embossing folders just work wonders for that. So I'm going to run the paper through the embossing folder. And I will say, when you run the paper, because the paper is thin, it's not like cardstock, it sticks a little bit. So you don't want to tear it. But I don't know if you can see that, but it just adds a little bit of a dimension to your paper using the embossing folder. All right. Now with this, I am going to go ahead and start building. And what I told you with instead of running long lines of the tape, it works better if you just flip it a little bit. It seems like I have found that it kind of winds over itself, and that's when we have the problems with it, if you drag it out too far. All right, now, like I said, I did 2 different size circles. And the stamp set I'm using is Quiet Reflection. And I did not put a sentiment on this card because I don't know what I'm going to use it for. It could be used for a sympathy card. It could be used for a thinking of you card. It could be used as it's a little bit more masculine. And so I haven't decided. So I did not put a sentiment on it, but there's various sentiments. Some of my card makers used it as sympathy. I think there maybe have been a few that used it for birthday. So it's all in what you need, you have available when you need it. So what I'm going to do is I'm using our blending brushes. And I'm going to design, and you can kind of see on the stamp, I'm not sure, that there's kind of a line between the line of trees and the shoreline. So I'm using the Shaded Spruce, which is not going anywhere. I just needed a third card because when I have my card classes, I have 2 tables, and I generally have one table working on one thing and one table working on another, and I try to do at least 2 cards with the technique that I'm teaching that month, and then I have a third card so that we're not using any of the same tools, so because it can get a little confusing. All right. And I'm just building the color with these blending brushes. And someone asked, can you just dip half of it in green and half of it in blue? You can do it however you want to do it. But I like the blending because then you get different shades. And I've got about halfway. And you want to make sure you run your blend so that you don't get like in your face splotches. So now I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight for the water, and I just put my finger in the ink, And my philosophy is if you have ink on your fingers at the end of the day, you have had a good day because that means you've been stamping. So, and I generally, if I've been stamping, I generally have ink on my fingers because I am the world's sloppiest. Okay, do that a little bit. And now before I stamp, I'm going to take my stamp and just blow on it a little bit. And that just re-moistens anything that may have dried while I was working and talking. Okay, not bad. And see, when I say about the shading, this stamp set leads itself to that. It does do some shading, but with doing it with a brush, you can kind of build on that rather than getting it all the same. You have light, you have dark. Okay, now you'll notice on this card I added purple. I don't know, I watch sunrises and sunsets, and I love watching the color of the skies. So I do that with my stamps too. And there again, you can make it as dark or as light as you want it. Okay, and I have one little section down here that it didn't catch, the stamp didn't catch that, so I'm going to go back over it with the Misty Moonlight with my brush and catch that. Okay, and that's just about as easy as it gets, isn't it? All right, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to attach the blue. And I want this ribbon. I've got this pretty metallic starry sky ribbon, and I want to use some of that. And I'm just going to put some adhesive. And you can make as big a loops as you want. And since I have plenty, I'm going to do a double. Sorry, I got out of the camera range. All right. And again, I'm going to pop dot it, dimension it. And I don't waste the pieces and parts that are left with my dimensionals. I use all of it. I just cut it and I do use it all. And I should use my tool. All right. Might have got a little carried away with the ribbon, but I'll fix that once I'm done. I can fix it. We can fix anything. As I always say, we do not make mistakes when we are crafting and doing cards. We are allowing opportunities for embellishments. Okay, there you have it. All 3 cards. The first 2 were the fractured technique using colors that are retiring the end of the month. And the last one was just building your scenery with our blending brushes. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'd love to hear from you. Please leave your comments. And like I said, if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you would like to receive one of the new annual catalogs when they come out, just let me know. I would be glad to help you get a catalog to you. And I think I've covered all bases. It is an exciting new style of catalog. There's they have made it user-friendly. I remember when I got my very first Stampin' Up! Catalog, it was mind-boggling, and it continued to be mind-boggling, but I've been doing this now for almost 17 years, and I've learned what you use what for. But for a new stamper to look at our catalogs, it really was overwhelming. And as a demonstrator, I always try to encourage people to start slowly until you know for sure that this hobby is for you. And they've really done a great job with this catalog, outlining it and showing those new stampers how to get started. And I encourage you to look through the catalog with an open mind, because yes, they are different, but I think once you get used to it, you'll really like the layout. So I think that's everything. And I still talked for 48 minutes, even though I had some of the stuff pre-done. I guess I just have lots of words to say. So anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day and great weekend. And I will see you next, if not before, when I do my May classes. I will be featuring new things, which is always exciting. And but I might just do a video as I do an unboxing when my new goodies come. I'm really excited. So I think that's everything. Everyone have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.